welcome to Coach's Corner podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Tripoli, on special Wednesday and Saturday edition. We're going to replay this on Saturday. Special guests, usually the four-wheel drive, we have Blaze Winter and Bill Pendock, teammates in these four-wheel drive. Timmy Green and Jamie Kimmel are the other four. We have a special guest, Billy's teammate at Syracuse, Paul Frase. Paul, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
It's awesome to be here. Teammate, I think at that time I was serving Bill water and Gatorade. So.
Right. Paul didn't make it into the four-wheel drive. He was after he was one of the spare tires back then. But
exactly. We had to do our own thing, but gosh, those were some great times to be introduced to Syracuse football in '83.
With those four as your mentors, Paulie, man, I mean, you probably a little bit from all four of them.
Well, Bill was the silent type, and you just, he grunted once in a while. And Jamie Kimmel was going to put you in a sleeper hold and knock you out. Tim Green was Tim Green, and you guys were. And Blaze was, gosh, Blaze, you were motivated by just looking at him. So,
oh my gosh, what a group Bill had to hold together there, wasn't it?
Exactly.
He's the only sane one. But you got. Go ahead, Billy.
Playing with those guys, on the field and in practice was the easiest part. It was off the field. Keeping them out of jail, keeping them out of prison, keeping them out of the insane asylum. The stuff. I roomed with Jamie for 2 years, and I mean, I can't even tell you. I think I slept an hour and a half each night. I mean, it was you didn't close your eyes around me. It was.
Oh my gosh!
The guy's always thinking of something. I mean, it was just a crazy time.
Did you think, Bill, you remember Tim Pigeon, of course.
Yeah.
Do you think he was a positive influence on the Kimmel brothers? Or
no, there was that unit, man. Them guys were a unique crew, and just while we're talking about it, they were tight with Jimmy Leibel. We lost Jimmy about 2 weeks, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it was a sad time, and Jimmy was, I know he came in a year, I think, after me. He was probably with you guys, but
yeah, I remember Jimmy very well. I was with him a couple of years, and what a dynamic, charismatic, just New Yorker, he was awesome. And we've got a text thread with about 22 guys, of our time, and a little bit younger with Daryl Johnston and Duval Glover and David Holmes, the whole deal. And man, it was a great loss for all of us, for the Syracuse football family.
Yeah. Hearts go out to him. Let's do this show in tribute to him, to your friend and teammate.
Absolutely.
Let's tell your story a little bit, because a lot of people didn't see our first podcast with you, Paul. So let's tell your story. You were born in Elmira. Talk about your high school days and your coaches and how you got to Syracuse.
Oh, cool. So I actually was born in Elmira, lived in Horseheads for 2 years, and then I moved the whole family to New Hampshire. And New Hampshire football was a little bit different. I only played because my two older brothers played. I grew up in Barrington, a small town. We didn't even have a high school, so I didn't even know what football was until high school. And the only reason I played on my sophomore year, I barely made the freshman team. And then the only reason I played on my sophomore year is because Wayne Rowell, he was one of those guys. He was kind of built like Jamie Kimmel. He had muscles on top of muscles, Bill. And but he broke his leg in the second game, And literally, I get on the field and I'm running around, I'm jumping on piles and all that stuff and just trying to, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. So, in films that Sunday, our head coach, who was at our school for 38 years and 5 championships, he literally shut the film off. He found me in the crowd behind him and he says, Frase, what the heck are you doing out there? And, but
Oh my gosh! And then 11 years
well,
later, you spent 11 years in the NFL. That's a good story.
well, Paterno turned me down. Hugo, my coach, sent out 100 tapes because he finally felt he had a Division I player. And
Yeah.
I think I was the only Division I football player out of that high school at the time. And
Wow.
oh yeah, you're talking New Hampshire football,
Yeah.
and
Almost 8-man
so
football.
Paterno sent the tape back and said, we're not interested in number 70 Frase, but who's number 32? He was a sophomore running back. He was a jitterbug running back. And then Bo Schembechler, Rusty Jones was a weight coach from New Hampshire, but he was at the University of Michigan. Coach found that out, got a tape to him. Rusty at least gets some of the alumni that were working on the financial market down in Boston to come up on a Friday night and watch me. And they said, okay, this kid warrants a trip out there. I go out on my recruiting trip and I had no offers, no D1 offers. But the first trip was Michigan. They get me out there. Bo Schembechler starts walking around on Sunday, shaking hands and this and that. And he looks at me, he says, how much do you weigh, son? And I said, 212 pounds. And he literally shook my hand. And it was literally like, well, hope you enjoyed yourself. Have a nice life, And, but
what were they looking at you for, Paul? Were you getting recruited as a defensive player or offensive?
Well, they knew I played defensive line in high school, never touched the ball, I was a backup third string tight end, but they wanted, but Bo was kind of walking away and I thought I heard him say, we want them big when they get here. Not, we don't want to have to make them big. Right. but the fact that the Wolverines flew me out there. All of a sudden, all the Eastern schools, Boston College, Syracuse, Rutgers, West Virginia, I had 5 offers within that weekend when I got back. But
oh wow!
But Bo never, obviously never. And if I had gone there, I would have got swallowed up. There's no way, I got there with you guys, saw the 4-wheel drive, saw where we were going on defense, and it took me 4 years to break the lineup. I didn't start until my 4th and 5th years at Syracuse.
Oh wow, me too. That was my way too. I had to learn and get better and get bigger and stronger. We had great strength coaches, right? We had All-American strength coaches, Al Miller and Kent Johnston.
Right.
And, so we had to get better. Bill was the big recruit back in the day.
I had Kent Johnston. You talking about the Green Bay Packer Kent Johnston?
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
He was with you guys. In Alabama, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
That's awesome.
He's doing great.
Now, Paul, who was your recruiting coach at Syracuse?
Clarence Brooks.
He was.
Yeah, okay. He came out to watch me in a basketball game, because I don't know that I was on their board until Michigan started taking a look at me. But Clarence came out a couple times for basketball games and great. I had a great experience. I go to. What got me was I'm a small town kid from New Hampshire. I get to the Dome on a Friday night or a Saturday night watching the St. John's Redmen play the Syracuse Orangemen for 32,000 people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this many people in my life. And
when you went up to Syracuse on your visits, who was hosting you?
Oh, we lost him for a split second.
We lost him.
It's all right. He may come back. He was. He'll come back. He'll come back. He was. 11 years. He played for the Jets, the Jags, Patriots, the Ravens, and he played in a Super Bowl too. 11 years. Paul Frase played in 19. Actually, you know what? I want to ask him when he comes back on, Billy. 1995, he received the Ed Block Courage Award for an unprecedented second time, Billy. Talk about we're going to have him talk about both times that he got the award. But and then we're going to talk about his book. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it pretty good here.
Yeah.
Maybe not so good. Game Changer, it's called. Game Changer. Right there, Game Changer.
Right, yeah.
He and his wife wrote about his son Joshua, who passed away from a muscular disease.
Yeah, I remember that. And again, this is the first time I've talked to him since I left Syracuse. I mean, it's been a lot of years. I haven't lost track, and I don't know what. Listening to his story coming from where he came from, I never knew. I learned so much from this stuff, and never had no idea.
I know. He's got an amazing story, man. This book will move you about trying to find a cure for Joshua. They actually started a dog colony. We're going to talk a little bit about it. He's back. Hey, Paul, you're back.
Sorry, guys. But Bill, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Getting back to Syracuse, who was your recruiting host when you came for your visits up there? Who was the guys showing you around?
I believe it was supposed to be Tim Green, and Tim gave the $40 to somebody else and had somebody else take me around. and it was probably $200. And he only gave the guy $40 or whatever it was. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that don't sound like that sounds like the money they would give me or Jamie if they'd let us do that, which George never would let us take around. So
yeah, George was smart. Yeah, he would never.
But they would have never gave Timmy $40. It had to be $200 or $300. So,
right.
That's a bunch of horse shit there.
Well, one thing you guys do have in common, you both played for Coach George O'Leary, and and he taught you guys so much. But I want to jump ahead, Paulie, because we want to talk about your podcast, the Headrush podcast that you and Corey are running. So let's jump ahead. 1995, you're in the NFL. You received the Ed Block Courage Award for an unprecedented second time. Talk about both those awards. You back, Paul? We're trying to get him back, Bill. Hey, I was talking about the Ed Block Courage Award. You got it twice. Talk about receiving that, because I think it was voted by on Teammates, which is the highest honor you can receive.
Well, it's an award. It's near and dear to my heart because it was voted on by the players, by the peers. It's not a
Billy. Can you hear him? Billy, can you hear him?
No, I can't. He's breaking up.
Breaking up. Paulie, I think you're breaking up.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I think he's saying it was near and dear to his heart because I think he lost Joshua at about that time, his son. So,
yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him about. It's been years. But
he had such a rare muscular disease, myotubular myopathy, they call it. It's a form of muscular dystrophy.
Right.
See if we can get him back. Hey, Paulie, are you back?
Yeah, but I can't. You're really scrambled, and can you hear me? Okay. No,
Yeah, can't hear you.
I don't know what's going on.
We'll try to. Maybe we'll try to redo it, Billy.
Yeah, we might have to. He's breaking.
Yeah, this is a Saturday, a good Saturday show. Maybe we can redo it Friday sometime.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Or maybe
I don't
tomorrow.
Know
huh? Billy,
maybe
when's
you
good for you?
I don't know what's going on.
I can. He's using his phone, not the
Oh.
computer. Do you use your computer, Bill, or do you use your phone?
I use my phone.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was my phone was fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back on. You're back on, Paul.
Yeah, my phone was fine. Okay, can you hear me?
Are you driving in the country, up in the mountains somewhere?
No, no, I'm.
Are you going under a tunnel, Paulie?
Exactly, under a bridge, under a bridge. Can you hear me or no?
We got you. We got you now. We can hear you.
Oh, you must. Hey, you must be in Mobile because there's a tunnel under the water over there going into the city.
Exactly. Sorry, guys.
Paulie, it's great to have you back. I'm glad we didn't have to redo it. Let's talk about the Ed Block Courage Award if we can get to it. I know it's you went through the hardest thing and the biggest tragedy a human being can have, losing your son or daughter, losing your son Joshua. Was the Ed Block Courage Award? It was while you were still playing football. Is that right?
Yes. That's why it was very meaningful to me. It's an award you really don't want to earn, because it's like you had suffered a tragedy or a blown out knee, and you came back and you had a good year. But it is voted on by your peers, and Bill, and you both, Paul and Bill, an award not voted on by your peers, okay, whatever. But if it's voted on by your peers, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So my first time is my third year at the Jets. I came down with a Graves' disease, hyperactive thyroid, and I sat out the whole year. I had the most tackles on the defensive line the year before, the second year, and I was minimum wage. So of course they're going to keep me, and they didn't have to pay me much. So I sat on, physically unable to perform that year. Came back, had a really good year in my fourth year. They voted me that year, and then when I came to the Jaguars, and I'm the only. It's unprecedented that I'm the only two-time award winner. Again, you don't really want to win it, but. So when I got to the Jaguars, my son had been born 15 days before Tom Coughlin had hired me or drafted me. Bill, did you have Tom Coughlin as a receiver coach for a little while?
He was my recruiting coach.
Oh no!
At Syracuse.
Oh no!
He was mine too. Only he didn't recruit me. Did you get along because you were both upstate New Yorkers, or did you know he was kind of a loose cannon at that point? Because you're a loose cannon too. So
I got stories with Coach Coughlin that would take at least a half to 45 minutes to an hour. He had a hold of my shirt a couple times and told me about 2 inches from my face, if I ever let Joe Paterno back at my house, he'd fucking kill me. So that's the one thing I remember from Tom Coughlin. He back then, Paul, you got to understand. I mean, I was getting looked at by over 150 schools. I mean, it was big back then. And Syracuse put a camper in across the street, so they had somebody. every day to take me to breakfast. And I would get picked up from school by Tom Coughlin. And I mean, as far as he was concerned, there was no other school that should even be talking to me. So it was, but
God bless you.
Hey Billy, they probably had a camper outside my house too, and I didn't come home, and that's probably why they said that's probably why they said let's not offer him a scholarship.
They told Tripoli he was too slow.
Too slow, yeah.
Oh wow!
Let's move on. Let's move on, man. We digress. Yeah, as we digress.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that award and your career.
Yeah,
let's talk about your book. I held up your book, Paulie, when you were away. Okay.
Thank you.
Game changer, yeah. And I read it, and I was just moved to tears, man, for the links and the money. You guys raised millions of dollars for myotubular myopathy. Talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. Really quick. So the second award I earned was my son was born. I had to go to training camp, to Tom Coughlin's training camp, where he took at least 3 years off my life. But that next year when they voted, my peers voted on it. We didn't have any busted up knees because we were a brand new franchise. So they voted me, for the trauma of working through my son's illness and so on and so forth. And the Ed Block people came back and said, no, he's already won it. We need another one. And our head trainer, Mike, Mike, he actually said, no, people, you will not get anyone else from us. You take Paul Frase or nobody at all. And yeah. So that was pretty cool. Yeah,
man, you had some people in your corner, Paulie, through all that heartache, man. Your book is great. How did you start your podcast? How did you and Corey start the Headrush podcast? It's been going now for about 2 years now.
About 15 months. What I had always, at 47 years old, I flatlined. It was weird, and I knew just enough about health and wellness to figure my serotonin, my dopamine, my GABA, everything just went haywire, literally. And then a couple years or a year later, they started talking about the C.T.E. stuff. And then I started getting rage, anger, uncontrolled, unbridled rage. And it was different. Things were changing, period. So 6 months after I started that rage, Chris Nowinski from the Concussion Legacy Foundation, he was working with Robert Cantu, the doctor, and Ann McKee up in Boston University, so on and so forth. Chris calls me and says, hey, Paul, we're doing clinical trials. You want in? And I said, yep, there's something going on. I need to be up there. He said, how quickly can you be up there? I said, next week. He had me on a plane, and I was involved with that. It was about 8 or 9, 10 years ago. They were trying to find biomarkers for C.T.E.
Right.
Fast forward, just the awareness alone of what I might have been dealing with gave me hope. And I said, okay, if I'm cognitively aware to make decisions, and still once in a while I can fake it that I'm intelligent, right? So, but I was okay. Can I control this rage? And I had to do some drastic measures to control the rage. I mean, not drastic. What I did was, when I felt myself going to 0 to 60 redlining, I literally would walk out the front door and take a 5-minute walk, because I was literally raging at my 13-year-old beautiful daughter who didn't deserve rages. She might have deserved a little pop on the butt, but not a rage, right? And anyway, so I went from 1 a month to 1 every 4 months to 1 every 6 months. Now I don't do it now unless somebody really pisses me off on the road, and then I yell and scream. And do my
Well,
deal. So
let's talk about CTE. Dr. Ann McKee and Dr. Bennett Amalu, the first to identify, of course, in the deceased CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Mike Webster, I believe, my friend who I just saw last week, Preston Gothard, was teammates with Mike Webster. He was the first one. But the podcast that you and Corey did with your guest Rico Petrini really was amazing. I recommend everybody to watch that. But the places that Rico was in, try to explain to Bill and our audience, Paulie, what kind of shape Rico was in.
Rico went from being a very high achieving sales person to
College
almost
football
not
player.
College football. He was a blue chipper, played 4 years in high school, started 4 years at Oregon State, I think. And
Right.
he was a badass. He was like number 3 or 4. He was like a Butkus Award type of guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did not play in the NFL. He did not get to the NFL. And gosh, I might.
Well, it was hard back then. Rico, it was hard to make a squad back then. But he,
well,
what did
it
he
was
do?
it was during the it wasn't during the strike year, was it?
Yeah,
Or it was
it
during
was.
the USFL and the strike and all that stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
he was getting caught up in that, and it
Right.
just didn't pan out. But he had the same type of thing, and he had a bunch of concussions in college and so on and so forth. And he literally, at the same age of 47 years old, he flatlined. He went from being very productive to literally not being able to walk through an airport and get on a plane. He literally, he was, interestingly, dopamine. I personally, through genetics and all that stuff, I don't assimilate dopamine. But so I can get high levels of dopamine. I always thought dopamine was the feel-good neurotransmitter, but it's actually high dopamine. Your body's not assimilating it. It turns into worry and anxiousness and freaking out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I started getting involved, started understanding about CTE, the science. Everything was really unknown when we got into this first. Some people was like, oh, it's a money grab, and this, no, it's a real deal. And
Yeah.
The current statistics, over 400 dead NFL players have been diagnosed with it. So at a 91.7% rate of dead NFL players. Bob Stern will tell you, and Ann McKee will tell you, that's a biased sample because all the guys that they were testing is the families were saying, you need to test his brain. He was acting like the fool, for the last 5 years or 10 years of his
Well,
life.
that's understandable. But the stats are not. Like, average death of an ex-NFL player is 58 years old. That's 20 years younger than the general population. I mean, let's talk about new therapies and treatments, especially this red light therapy that Dr. Larry Carr got from Dr. Margaret Nazer. Is that right, Nazer?
I believe so. Yeah.
Talk about what it did for Rico and what this might do for all of everybody that has TES, and explain TES, Paulie.
Well, TES is traumatic encephalopathy syndrome. It's the closest you can get diagnosed to CTE when you're living. CTE, but they might be announcing in October, fingers crossed, that they can they have a biomarker that they can find CTE in the living. But what we understood,
Oh, I knew that was coming close. Go ahead, Paulie.
They're close. They're close. But what we, Corey, Barry, and myself at the Headrush podcast, what we try to do is find modalities, find therapies, find things. And the problem is, insurance doesn't cover a lot of these things. So people who are, struggling or not flush with cash or not solvent and saying, not able to throw $10,000 at a treatment for the next year, it's hard. So we actually just formed the Headrush Foundation. We're a 501c3. We just got we just got the IRS designation. But what we want to do is,
all right, we're back. We're back. So
what we want to do
501c.
is, we got the designation from the IRS, so we're 501c3. So, but what we want to do is help people that need or might benefit from photobiomodulation. You know, V-Light, VIE Light. We're partnering with them, and they have a very, very, it's the red light therapy. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy this. But the frequency and the wavelength are the most important. So the V-Light or V-Light, they have something that'll penetrate the skull, and they have nose clips in the red light.
Yeah, Rico put his on in your podcast.
Yep.
He put his on, and my gosh, you know that we're. I mean, you've had a lot of guests on, but what doctor have you had? Dr. Ann McKee on yet, or?
We haven't had Dr. Ann McKee. We've had Dr. Mark Gordon. He's a neuroendocrinologist. Have you ever? Okay, first of all, anybody listening to this that has bumped their head thousands of times, like Billy and I and you, Paul, you need to watch the movie Quiet Explosions, period.
Okay.
Quiet Explosions.
Okay.
So, and Dr. Mark Gordon is featured on that, as well as Dr. Amen, and they talk about different modalities like hyperbaric treatment. They talk about nutraceuticals and vitamin supplements that actually lower the inflammation. It's all inflammation. If you don't hear me anything else I say, inflammation, right? So we've had Dr. Jim Kelly, who he's a big doctor that was involved with some of the NFL studies, and he's been involved with the one of the special forces hospitals up in I guess Virginia, and he works very closely with the veterans, and so we're actually getting Dr. Amen is going to be coming on filming with us next month.
Oh wow, Paulie, man, I gotta applaud you guys taking the stand on this. This leads the podcast in the country. This is an important issue. Like you said, when we played in the NFL, there just wasn't a lot of roster spots. You only had 6 to 8 guys in your position group. Well, I know 3 out of 6 have committed suicide before they were 40. So they must have hit them. You said it hit you at 47. Benny Perrin, my old teammate at Alabama, the great Benny Perrin, he committed suicide, I think, before he was 50 as well. So we know, what concerns me is you and Rico talk about these NFL teams that deny. It's obvious that these concussions came from your sport. You're an employee of that company, but they won't pay restitution. They won't pay medical bills. They won't give you disability. It's really difficult. Why is the NFL holding back on taking care of their ex-players, Paul?
Well, okay. First of all, they're starting to give neurological help programs, but it's it's not like photobiomodulation. It's not hyperbaric chamber. It's SSRI drugs, and you go see a neurologist and see what's going on, and take a scan and see if you have any white matter, brain damage, and all that stuff. It's money. It's money. They know. I think the fact that when they settled the case, they probably took a sigh of relief, because they could, going forward, have these kids sign away their lives, but promise them neurological help if they need it down the road. But they had a set amount that they were going to be liable for. Then they still don't speak about it. Rico and I were kind of talking about the Harvard NFL study.
That, right.
Well, the frustrating thing is that study is paid for a lot by the NFL. I'm sure they have other means, and
it's a conflict of interest. It's an obvious.
And if you actually read all of the reports and all the studies that they send out, hey, NFL players, it turns out they're actually healthier than most people. Or, hey, and that's
disinformation, Paulie. That's not misinformation. That's disinformation. That's intentionally sending out the wrong stuff.
Rico's, I'm sitting here with AFib, so that's not good. And the AFib started, the heart palpitation started in my playing days. Okay, well, Rico's thing was, and he's very intelligent on this situation. If it happened in, your playing days, somebody, an employee needs to help you.
Taking accountability. Your employer needs to take accountability and responsibility.
But that's the whole, you think about the NFL now in the past 3 or 4 years, 5 years, everything is, now they're talking about changing the game for safety, for head, and yet they won't admit that they got to help the people that fucking played for them.
Right.
And it's just, it's incredible the money that's out there that none of these ex-players are able to get to help.
No, there's, we're not only losing NFL players, ex-players to suicide. 22 veterans every single day commit suicide in this country. So, they're not taken care of by our government either. Paulie, talk a little bit about that.
Well, apparently the numbers dropped from 22 to 21 or 20. Oh, wow. That's still 20 too many, right? So, right. So you go back to quiet explosions, Dr. Mark Gordon, he's actually doing the Millennium Protocol, the Millennium Health Centers. He does nutraceuticals and brain health and wellness through it's mainly nutraceuticals, and he tests your hormones. One hit to the head, one concussion can cause your pituitary gland to go cattywampus and not talk to your hippocampus or hypothalamus or whatever's making the HGH in your brain, and it can alter it. Well, our C.T.E. is not 5 concussions or 10 concussions. C.T.E. is repeated head impacts, period. So, Bill, Paul, I probably had 15,000. I thought it was incredulous when I started saying this, and I was like, that's impossible, because Boston University asked me, how many concussions have you had? And I said, 3 or 4 have been knocked out. And they said, how many times have you seen the color purple, seeing stars, had a split second of dizziness, and they gave about 15 things. And I'm like, I don't know, thousands. Well, it turns out from actual tests, that it's 1,000 to 1,500 per season for college and in high school and in the NFL. So you're talking 20 years of organized football. I didn't start playing until I was 14. Bill, I don't know if you played younger, but you've had thousands and thousands of hits too. The C.T.E. is caused by repeated head impacts. And the problem is, really quick, the problem is our youth. We're strapping helmets on the youth at 7 years old, and the prefrontal cortex, myelin sheath, is the only protectant of the axons and the neurons in your brain, right? The myelin sheath doesn't even start developing in the prefrontal cortex. It's the last part of the brain that it develops. It doesn't start developing until 18, 20, 25, 26 years old.
My
so
God.
7-year-old kids, and you people say, well, they don't hit their head hard. it's proven through testing, clinical trials and testing, it's proven that they still get 40, 41, 42 G-forces because their neck muscles are weak. The helmet is still 8 pounds.
Heavy,
And they
yeah.
slam into it, and then boom, and boom,
yeah.
and boom. And then
I
you get
know.
the swishing and what.
It was 7 to 27 for me, Paul. 7 years old to 27.
Yeah.
And I gotta have a conversation, with my son about, letting his son play tackle football at 7, 8 years old. I just can't endorse it anymore. Flag football all the way to high school, right, Paul?
Yeah, at least. I've gotten to the point where, flag football until you're 18, until you can make the choice if you want to rack your brain or not. But it's not going to happen in our lifetimes, probably. But 14 at least, right? I mean, take your kid's head out of the. Now, real quick, why I say it's the kids. Before you ask the next question, Paul, there's a study that's coming out. 152 youth, 30 years and under, concussive sports, high school, grade school, high school, no professional. They're all dead. 100% of them had white matter brain damage. 100% of them had mental health issues. 41% of them had C.T.E. And over 50% of them committed suicide. So this is what the parents need to understand. This is what we preach through our podcast. Hey, hey, the mental health, the depression, the apathy, the addictive personalities, you go down the memory loss at an early age, at an earlier age. I mean, we're not even talking about. So that's what we have to say. It's almost like if a parent is educated in the fact of the myelin sheath and there's no protectant, and you know these statistics of a study like this, the parents really, in my estimation, are culpable for their child's mental health when they're 30 or 40 years old.
Yep. I agree, Paul. I agree. We need to get this out. If you're watching the show, you need to share this information and share this knowledge.
Yeah, and it's all concussive sports. It's kind of scary.
Right. We're not just talking football. Yeah.
Right.
But and you think, and I'm gonna be on the other side for a minute. Think about what's going on in high school and college sports now with this NIL money. I mean, you're talking about all these statistics. You're telling a parent this, the kid's 9, 10 years old, and he's looking at a kid getting out of high school making 1.5 to 3 million to 6 million a year playing college football. So what I mean, that's money. Everybody says there's a number for anything, so that kind of money you can't ignore.
Yeah. Okay. Great point. Absolutely. There is an age of accountability somewhere, some way. When you can drink, when can you join the military, when can you smoke cigarettes? But the fact is, the studies have proven that every single year you play a concussive sport or football. This is football because it came out of Boston University. Every single year you play, you have like a 29% increased chance of having C.T.E. Now, so C.T.E. is because of repeated head impacts. Do you understand if we only hit 1 day a week instead of 4 to 5 days a week, that's a reduction in 80% of the contact for these kids. So, Bill and you guys, do you remember? I remember he seeing that guy at St. John's. It wasn't the Redmen; it was another St. John's, like Division III, and that coach never practice with pads.
Oh, that was Minnesota. No, I coached with a guy who played for him.
Really?
Yes,
But
I coached.
but
I coached. Greg Seibert played for that guy out in Minnesota. They never hit at all.
And didn't they win like championship after championship after
He did.
championship?
He won many national championships. He did.
I'm going to tell you, I mean, we all played for years. And I mean, and I'm very old school. I'm very old school. And
you got to bang. We believe you got to bang, Paul. You got to bang.
The stuff I learned today from you about the statistics and what's going on, I suffer from, the same stuff that most of us are. I got those days where the ringing is, all that stuff. I know what's going on. It's not good, but I know. But you think about back when we practiced, and you were with our group, and it was live 3 days a week at least, sometimes 4. And everybody, you look at football now, and we're old. I got to say, we're old now. We're old, and I mean, I'm thinking, how can you play defense now without without practicing defense? And I don't know. I mean,
I don't. No, you're right, Billy. If you don't hit, you're going to have a lack. Your production, your performance is going to take a hit, and I see it now. I see it on the football field.
I'm right there with Paul. I'm right there with Blaze. I'm right there with, and I'm so, there's days I can't remember things. We're going through that stuff, but I'm still thinking, how the hell am I gonna make plays if I can't do that stuff in practice? And that's just it's just a tough. I'm in that. It's a hard thing.
It is.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy for sure, because the game teaches so many good lessons, man. It's just, I mean, still worth it. Most guys would tell you it's still worth it, right, Paul?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's difficult knowing what I know now about these statistics and about these kids and about the brain health and wellness. I probably would have listened to my mom a little bit more and gone to Phillips Exeter and become a doctor. Yeah.
But you were smart enough, Paul. You were smart enough. Billy and I weren't smart enough to be doctors.
No, you guys were. But the fact of the matter is, listen to this. The NFL is like only hitting like once a week.
Right.
But the Pee Wee football is still hitting 3 or 4 every practice.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I just can't. I can't stand it. I had Jeremiah Castile on. He said he didn't even let his kids play any youth football at all because they didn't know what the heck they're doing.
That's right.
They don't.
I agree 100% with that. I say start kids in high school. That's what I always have said.
Right.
Yeah. And you can learn if you're good enough athlete and you're strong enough and your body has the right type. Because some kids are not meant to play football.
No.
Not every kid is meant to play football.
Yeah, meant to play. Hey, Paulie, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Hey, listen, Paul, one last thing. Try to make it up for the Marcus Ball.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you. It's been a long time, man.
Marcus Ball tournament, the first weekend in June up in Syracuse.
Yeah, I think it's June 1st, and
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Right.
Okay. All
June
right.
3rd. All right.
June 1st.
June 1st. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna work like heck to be up there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate
it. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for being on. Billy, great to see you.
Good seeing you guys. Take care, man.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, man, what a podcast. I hope you learned something. Really important podcast, as too many of our teammates are dying from C.T.E. So we need to find a cure. and thank God for Paul and Corey Corey Berry for hosting the podcast, the Headrush podcast it's called. Thanks for watching Coach's Corner, everybody. If you like it, share it, and have a good sports weekend. We'll talk to you soon. So long.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than the simple painted brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We self-fund for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center. Thank you.
Over 30 years, you have seen the orange Beck signs all over the Gulf Coast listing a property for sale or lease. Beck Partners is your trusted advisor in commercial real estate, property management, commercial and personal insurance. Senior Vice President David Valletto has been with Beck Partners since 1989. Take advantage of his wealth of knowledge by calling him today at 982-7352. 982-7352. Extensive experience in all aspects of leasing, sales, management, and site selection will make sure your expectations are exceeded.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.